Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna be grabbing this user. I was gonna use the control, but now I just changed my mind. We're gonna be using the user one. So we're gonna be entering all this data into the actual database, just with a request. So far, whenever the application loads, we are just triggering this command, but we are not going to do that. I want to include Firebase on a different view and then use it to store some data, to make a request. So the first thing is that, well, first we need to be using all the functionalities we have inside Firebase. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna export it just like a regular function inside React. I'm gonna say export, and to store things, we're gonna be using this Firebase DB, this command we've been using. So I'm gonna copy, I'm gonna export it. So now this Firebase DB is going to be available from outside this this JS, this component. Good. Okay. So I'm going to go back to user, and what I need to do first, I need to include this Firebase on this component. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to say import, and of course I'm going to do some destructuring. I'm going to bring Firebase. Oh, let me make it right. Firebase, and then DB. And of course, it's going to be from, and we just need to find that Firebase file. Okay, so Firebase DB is available from within this component. Now, if you remember, every time we just submit this form, it's gonna do all the validation and everything else. And at the end, if the form is valid, it's gonna give us all the data to submit. So if the form is valid, we're gonna make the request right here. So I'm going to delete this. And first, what we need to do, we need to call this Firebase DB. Then we're going to be accessing users with ref. So I'm going to say users because we want to add a new user. And then of course, we're going to say push. And okay, and then again, I'm going to be using a parenthesis. So what I need to pass right here is going to be whatever data I want to add to the database. In this case, we're going to be using data to submit. So I'm going to just do this. Now, if you remember right here, we have the push method, we have the auto generated ID. So we're going to be using, that's why we're using push. Okay, so after this is done, it's doing this, we kind of need a confirmation that everything went okay, or maybe we got an error. So again, we use then the promise. Now I'm going to open and close, and this one, of course, if it's success, if success, it's not going to give us anything back. So I'm going to say just console log, and then, new user added, whatever. And of course, if we get an error, we need to catch it. So I'm going to say catch, open and close, and now it's going to give us back an error, and then we run a function. And of course, if we get an error, I'm going to do the E. I'm going to console log the error. And that's it, This should be working. So I'm going to save it. Nothing is going to happen at the beginning, of course. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to enter, what am I going to enter? Then Patrick, whatever, and then Ewing. Good. I'm going to be adding a message, which is hello, dudes, something like that. And the age is plus than 30. If you know Patrick Ewing, you know that he's plus than 30. So I'm going to do submit, and then we get new user added. So this is kind of working. I'm going to go back to the database, and we have a new record of name Ewing, last name Ewing, Patrick. We get the message, and we even get the age. So everything is working, and it was really, really easy to use. All right, told you that this video is going to be really short. So now the thing is that if I do this, we are going to be adding records. But in real life, you want to prevent users from entering records. If you remember, inside the rules, we have the rule that anyone can read and anyone can write. But the thing is that we don't want to do this. I want for the user to be authenticated before doing something like this, before entering data. So in the next section, we're going to be talking about authentication. Firebase is going to give us the functionality to authenticate users via different methods. We're going to be talking about this on the next section. So let's get started with authentication on the next section.